was on my window, I was dreaming half asleep. I was thinking about your smiling face and the company that you keep. I watched you cross the tables in the cafe down the street. I tried so hard to get to you on a chance that we might meet. Oh, I know you're only a low country woman and you think you got no style. City girls are just painted on, never learn to smile. No, they never learn to smile.
Hello and welcome to this week's Celebrity Spotlight. Live from London. We are live at 7 o'clock or just gone, and we're delighted this week to have star of stage and screen, Mr. Mike Berry, with us. My name is Paul Endicott from Music Heritage London and the Swinging 60s tours and events. And before I introduce Mike to you, he's coming on, he's waiting in the green room. I'd just like to give you a little bit of information and updates regarding the Swinging 60s tours that we've got live in London. These live and interactive online tours are available to everyone in the world from the comfort of your own home. So you can access them via Zoom. And this Saturday coming up, the 28th of November, at 3 p.m. London time, we're doing the Swinging 60s Experience Tour, and we cruise down the King's Road. You're actually with me live in the psychedelic minibus as we cruise the King's Road, and I point out all of the 60s locations, fashion, music locations down the King's Road. We stop off at the Troubadour, and we go inside the Troubadour where they Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, they all played their lovely old club, started in 1954. That's on the Saturday. As a 1 hour tour, usually goes on a little bit longer, and we end at the Royal Albert Hall. On the Sunday the 29th, we have the Birth of the Rolling Stones tour in Richmond upon Thames, and I take you back to the locations where they played in 1962, when they played with the first lineup with Charlie Watts and Bill Wyman. And on next Saturday, the 5th of December, we've got a special. We've got two tours on. Beatles in West London, one early in the morning at 9 o'clock with the Beatles road manager and lifelong friend Tony Bramwell. He's going to be joining us. He also was their videographer, filmmaker. So a lot of the films that the Beatles did in West London, it was Tony Bramwell that shot them. And on the 3 o'clock tour that day, we have Leslie Ann Jones, who's the author of a new book called Who Killed John Lennon. This is only a few days before the 40th anniversary of John Lennon's tragic demise in New York. So I hope you can join us on one of those tours. You can access them through the website link that I'll leave before the end of this live broadcast. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Mr. Mike Berry.
Hello.
Hello, Mike.
Hello,
how you?
And Paul.
How are you, old bean?
We must
Let me see.
Buy you a razor blade.
Oh gosh, don't have a go at my beard. It hides the lines and the lovely lines. Mike and I have known each other for, gosh, how long has it been?
Yes, a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks, a bit longer than that.
When did I first meet you in Richmond at the what's the name club? Can't remember. It's a long time ago. I was a lot younger.
You were a lot younger, and you came to a couple of the gigs that we were putting on at the old Station Hotel where the Rolling Stones started. So, and you've been on a couple of the tours as well. We're getting. Let me just have a look at who's coming in here. Hello from Port Elizabeth. Hello from Port Talbot in South Wales. Hello from Scotland, Dublin. Hello from Athens. Watching from the Orkney Islands. Great. Bedford, Massachusetts. There's somebody here. Hello, Barbara from New Bedford, Massachusetts. Now, I'm going to ask people to ask, if you've got any questions for Mike, please, send them through and I'll pass them on to Mike if you've got any questions. But we've got people from all over the UK, from Sweden, watching from Scotland. Okay, so let's get the show on the road. Mr. Michael Bourne, using your true name. Yes, it's you, Mr. Michael Bourne.
Doesn't come in.
It's you. That's born on the 24th of September,
Yeah.
1942.
I know.
And you were born in Northampton.
That's right.
You haven't lost your accent.
Shoes. Like all the boots and shoes. There's no accent up there, really, I don't think.
Well, so what I ask all of my guests that come on, Mike, is, what was the tipping point? What got you into music? I know you were heavily influenced by skiffle music back in the 50s.
Yeah.
So what was the tipping point for you to pick up a guitar and start performing?
Well, it was skiffle, really. I formed a skiffle group with a couple of mates, and we were called the Rebels. And we had a T-chest bass, and if you don't know what that is, it's a chest that the T came in. And used to stick a string through the middle of a pole, and that was the bass, just one string. And we had a washboard, which was an old, the original hot point washing machine. And it was a slab of corrugated metal to scrub the clothes on in the tub. And we had a couple of rubbish guitars, and that was it. That was us. But we were really skiffle was the first music we sort of took to. But there was before that, there was sort of the swing era, and then it gradually became rock and roll, along with Little Richard and Elvis and all the great American rock and rollers. And they're the guys we idolized, and we finished up singing more rock and roll, American rock and roll, than we did skiffle. And Lonnie Donegan, if you don't know other parts of the world, Lonnie Donegan was like our Elvis before another guy, Cliff Richard, came along. And we all thought Lonnie was great. And I think he had hits in America and probably other places in the world. So that's the guys that influenced us. And so we started our little group doing their songs. I think the first rock and roll tune we ever did was a song called Boney Maroney by Larry Williams. Don't know, Google it. Fantastic. Because the best singers on the stage tended to be the black singers, black guys with soul. But I remember working with a guy called Jimmy Witherspoon on Ready Steady Go, a big show in England, a rock and roll show. And he said about Elvis, he said he's the one guy that we think has got a black soul. That's the way he sang. He felt the music. And all that sort of stuff influenced. But initially we were just the Rebels, and I used to shout across the noise this horrible skiffle group because we were pretty noisy, but there was nothing else. So we've got
a question here from Jill Swarder. What was his favourite tune? Which we're coming on to, really, we're covering. But what was there one that stuck out? I remember you mentioning to me some time ago about Elvis's Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah, but I think the first one that I really felt for was when I saw Little Richard and told him to Don't Knock the Rock, and he sang Long Tall Sally. But and then Good Golly Miss Molly, I had a jukebox, which my son still has. My favourite record on there, because it's a fantastic sound of Little Richard's voice in the band, was Good Golly Miss Molly. Jailhouse Rock was, again, I mean, these were all great. They were all equally as good. We were just blown away.
And after your skiffle band, the Rebels, you went electric with Kenny Lord and the Statesman.
That's what they call that. Was so clever, Lord and Statesman. What a load of idiots. But these guys were Italians. The two of the other guys, three of the other guys. There were five of us, and the bass player and I were the English one. They used to have access to this senior Garibaldi club in central London, Holborn. And we used to rehearse there. We never did any gigs, just rehearsed week after week because we used to love performing. And they had these tiny little amplifiers, 10-watt amplifiers, for these German Hofner guitars and stuff like that. And they were okay, but they weren't a pattern in America. But at the time, we didn't know. And that's what started us off. We did our first demo as a little recording group with that setup, Kenny Northern States.
Got a question here from Margaret Moffat. Who was the most famous person you met that you were in awe of?
The trouble is, I could say Paul McCartney or Mick Jagger, but I worked with them. I was a name before they were. When I did tour, they were just mates. We were just ships that pass in the night. With the Stones, particularly, I did about 4 national tours in England, and we were just pals. I mean, Mick Jagger asked me how to sing one day. He said, "How do you hit those high notes?" I said, "I don't know. I just did it," because he had his whole technique was different, and his whole animal thing, which was great, which is the thing we all loved about the Stones. I was more into the musical, croonery sort of melodic singing, whereas Mick was he just did it by feel. So when he heard me singing Roy Orbison songs, he thought, wow. And he asked me how to sing. But just say that was what it was like. We were just mates. We used to go have cups of tea in the dressing room, and same with the Beatles. I met the Beatles at the Cavern before they were ever a name. We were up there as a little band. Mike Berry and the Outlaws. By then, we had one hit record, so we were a big deal. We had one hit record. We'd actually done a TV appearance as well. That was big stuff. So I suppose Mick and Paul and John Lennon, obviously.
Well, we've spoken a lot, and we've been on radio shows together, etc. And one of the stories that always got me going was when the fact that the Beatles were your support band at Preston Town Hall in 1962. And the fact that John, as you mentioned, John Lennon offered to write you a couple of songs, because Brian Epstein actually told the Beatles to keep with you at the Cavern because you had a recording contract and you'd been on telly. Now, turning down John Lennon's songs, I mean, we laugh about it now, but
I didn't actually turn them down. We just didn't know they were writers. It was in the canteen at Thank You Lucky Stars, another TV show that I used to do regularly over here in the 60s. And the Beatles were doing their first telly, and I was chatting to John in the canteen again because we'd met at the Cavern and stuff, and Paul had given me a lift back to my crappy hotel. And so we were just band members and mates, And then we were talking about songs, and John, he almost got me by the lapels and said, "We'll write you a song, we'll write you a song." Pretty keen on. My manager was there, and he didn't know, none of us knew what nominal talent we were with actually in the same room. And so, that was one of my, oh God, if only. But there you go. So,
we've got a comment here, Liam from New Zealand. Hi from New Zealand. Me and Mum love your music.
Oh. You've obviously got great taste there, young man. Well done, Liam. Mum and Dad, hello.
Excellent. And somebody here is already, Stephen Tate, are you free, Mr. Spooner? We'll come on to the acting a bit later on. Are you free? So we've got lots. Here we go. Margaret Moffat again. Did you cross paths with Steve Marriott and Small Faces?
I never did. They were a little later on. And the only time I remember seeing them was when I was coming out of the recording studio where I'd been doing some recording. They were going in, and they had to run hell for leather because they were being chased by a few girls. And that was the only time I saw them in the flesh. I think I might have done Ready, Steady, Go with them probably, and possibly Thank You Lucky Stars. Although I'm not sure they did that. They were a bit cool for that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Just coming onto your history again, Mike, and trying to carry on the chronological path of your success. I've always called you a legend. You call yourself a legend, but there's some meeting in the middle there somewhere, because you ended up with Joe Meek, with the iconic producer Joe Meek with Telstar and you know the stuff that he's now revered for with regard to as a producer of music in a completely different way to any other recording studios, etc. The way he used to put music together. But what was the link between you and Kenny Lord and the Statesman then getting signed up with Joe Meek?
Well, we made a demo. Through a friend of a friend, I won't go into too much detail, we made a demo out of the band, Kenny Lord and the Statesman. And we did 4 songs. We did Peggy Sue Got Married, a Buddy Holly tune. We did Please Don't Tease, Cliff's #1. We did Bebopalula, Gene Vincent. And we did Dream Lover, Bobby Darin. And we did these 4 songs and then made this record. And we had a load cut. And through a friend of a friend, I say it was her. And this friend of this friend came along to see us rehearsing at the Mazzini Garibaldi I mentioned earlier. And he really liked what he heard. And so he knew where Joe Meek studio was, which was in Holloway Road in North London. He also knew where a guy called Jack Good hung out. Don't ask me how he knew this, but he was one of these guys that tend to find things out. And he was a real enthusiast, and he had his own skiffle group and stuff. And so it was through him that I first went to see Jack Good. He was God in those days because he ran a short show called Oh Boy. All the big names were on there, and Americans as well. Lots of Americans came over. Johnny Cash and loads of, I can't remember most of them now, but and Eddie Cochran and Gene Vincent stayed. It sort of became Anglophone. And so Jack Good had this show going. I should have signed with Jack Good because when I saw him, he really liked my voice. And I think the band were going to be elbowed. But so he said, we've got this song for you to do. And he said, we're in the studio next week. And then if only I'd been not so naive, I'd have said, yes, I'll sign. Only perhaps a bit more coolly than that. And I'd been on television every week for a year at least. But instead, I saw Joe Meek a day or so later, and I liked Joe's ideas better. He wanted, because Jack Good had said, you'll be the next Adam Faith. Well, if you're not in England, you wouldn't know who Adam Faith was. But Joe Meek said to me, you're going to be my Buddy Holly. I thought, that's more like it. I was a real fan of Buddy Holly. And we talked about an album, an LP as we used to call it. He said there'll be a ghostly picture of Buddy up there, because he had this sort of country accent. He said, then we're going to superimpose Mike Berry. And well, no, it wasn't Mike Berry then, it was just me, because we hadn't been named. So that was why I signed with Joe, because I just thought, yes. And my grandma was my guardian at the time. My mum and dad having gone off to do different things, my mum in America. And so my grandmother came and she had to sign for me because I was only 17 underage. She'd be under 21.
And one of your band members, when Joe Meek had created the name, it was Joe Meek's name, Mike Berry and the Outlaws, wasn't it?
Right. Well, I remember standing outside Joe's little studio room because it was all in a flat, this studio where he made Telstar, all these big hits, including mine. He had it was just one room was his control room, one room was his studio, and we were standing. I remember the Outlaws were standing at the top of the stairs, just outside his control room, and I was sort of the other side of the door, just in front of the studio room. And he said, "Right," he said, "You can't have this Kenny Lord." He said, "It's no good." He said, "Michael Bourne doesn't sound very rock and roll." So he said, "I'm going to call you Mike Berry." He said, "After Buddy Holly Berry." And he thought that was so clever again, like Lord and Statesman. Anyway, so that was the link. But I thought, well, at least it's not a daft name like Savage or whatever. So, and then he said to the band, and they had no choice. He said, I'm going to call you the Outlaws. So he's going to be Mike Bear and the Outlaws. So that's what, when we were christened, we just went, fine, you know, you're the man, you're the recording manager, we'll just do as we told. As you did that, much like the Beatles and the Stones and everybody else.
Well, you know, that was, you know, the producer was king, wasn't he? And, you know, and you know, it didn't take long for a number 6 hit to come out. Don't you think it's time?
Yes, I know, yeah. That was
which I think you were still working elsewhere, and you saw that you were looked at a newspaper and saw you were number 6 in the hit parade.
No, that's a slight misreading. What it was, my first hit was a tribute to Buddy Holly, which became a hit in spite of the BBC. And it would have been a lot higher. But that only got to 18. And I was walking up the road in East London. I was actually working, ironically, in a piano shop called Berry's Music Shop. And they had about 12 Berry's music shops all over London. Anyway, I was walking up Mayor Street in Hackney, looking at the New Music Express, and there I was in the hit parade. I didn't even know. Joe hadn't told me.
Brilliant.
Because you had no mobile phones then, and you know, if you had a phone, it was quite a luxury.
Well, we've already got somebody that's preempted this. Louise Lange has said tribute to Buddy Holly, so we have some fans here.
Oh, wow.
From all over the place. Hello from Germany. I'm sure you've played in Germany. Hello, Sylvia from Germany.
Hello, Sylvia.
Well,
played Germany a couple of times. I haven't played a lot in Germany, but I've played 1 or 2. I love to play there.
Melanie Hamilton. Great to see you, Mike.
I'm sure you're nice.
There's a clock there, isn't it? Nice clock. Now, for those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about with the tribute to Buddy Holly, this was one of Mike's first hits back in the 60s, written for Mike, which the BBC banned, and it was with the lights. I mean, thanks to Radio Luxembourg and the pirate stations that played it. And I'm going to share my screen with you now, and I'm going to play a little excerpt of Mike playing live. Unfortunately, we when we go out on Facebook, we've got to be very careful with the licensing laws. So I've got to use live shows. So this is Mike playing live. I don't know where. He's got a nice white jacket on. I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me a minute. This is quite technically advanced. So here we go. We're going to be showing tribute to Buddy Holly right now.
Or not?
Jeff Collard, he wrote some great songs. He wrote all Johnny Layton's songs for a start, wrote for songs for Hines. They were all huge hits. And he wrote this for me. And it was actually banned by the BBC on the grounds of bad taste, because it was one of those death records. And the BBC in their posh voice said, "You can't make money out of somebody who died." And I never did, because no bugger paid me. But I don't bear a grudge. It's still a nice little tune, and it was my first hit after all. I'll tell you where it was played, on Radio Luxembourg. You remember Radio Luxembourg? Ain't you old? Should you be out at your age? Anyway, I used to listen to Radio Luxembourg on the old headphones, the old crystal set under the blankets. Yeah, I should have been doing other things, like sleeping. Anyway, this is my tribute to one of my favourite singers of all time, at the time my favourite singer. It was simply entitled Tribute to Buddy Holly. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Snow was snowing, wind was blowing, when the world said goodbye, buddy. Still I know that up in heaven is where we live. Buddy Holly.
That's enough of that. Hey there.
There we go. Brings back memories. How long ago was it that you were playing there? Then what venue, what location was that?
It was only a couple of years back. I was doing a Marty Wild tour, and that was Marty's band, the Wildcat backing. They were brilliant. And yeah, it was just one of about 4 different tours I've done in the last 6 years or so. So I don't know which one it was, but I hope it sounded better than that on the night.
It's the technology. We have a message here from Suzette Butler. Hi from very rainy Spain. I've still got loads of personal videos of you slowly transferring from VHS to MP4.
I know Suzette. I remember Suzette. And where was it you were based in? The West Country? Yes, I did some gigs with Suzette and for Suzette, I seem to remember. Yeah. Yes,
oh, well, she does say long time no see. So there we go.
Yes, you're looking lovely as ever, darling.
Ah, you're such a smoothie.
I know. Well, I've got to say something. I try and deflect them looking at me.
Actually, one thing I'd like to do, Mike, with you is to wish our cousins in America a happy Thanksgiving. I think it's Thanksgiving over in the States at the moment. So anyone that we got a few people over from America, etc. So cousins in America, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I've got a lot of family in America. My sister and 4 kids are there, and I've got a little enclave of Bournes, I should say. Actually, they're not Bournes. I can't remember her surname now. Hanson. Yes.
Careful. They may be.
She's been married about 3 or 4 times. So I didn't forget all the names, different names. But she's looking amazing. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Absolutely.
Stay safe.
Stay safe and rock online, as I say in my sign-offs now, because everything's online now. That's one of the things that we're bringing to the world is, people can't come to London, so we're taking London to a global audience, and through these live streams and the tours, the guided tours, it's we're getting some fantastic TripAdvisor reviews. But back to Michael Bourne, back to Mike Berry. Tribute to Buddy Holly comes out in '63, I think it was.
61.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh no, don't you think It's Time was '63, wasn't it?
62.
Blimey, Wikipedia got it all wrong.
The end of 62.
And then what happened next? I mean, a little bit maybe about the band, and especially Chas Hodges, who I know that you have a big simpatico for. God bless Chas Hodges.
Yeah, well, that was the Outlaws standing at the top of the stairs in Joe's place, and they were the Stormers at that point in time, and then they were suddenly the Outlaws, and it was Chas on bass, Chas Hodges on bass, a guy called Bobby Graham on drums, who was a great drummer, top session drummer in the end, along with Clem Catini. They cleaned up the 2 of them, and the other 2 guys were Reggie Hawkins and was it Kenny? No, wait a minute. Rich Hawkins and who have I left out? Drums. Oh, Bill Kye. Good grief. Billy Kye on lead guitar. Well, he'd kill me if he knew I'd forgotten.
I'm just looking down here, seeing if he's sent a message in already. How could you forget me? How could you forget me?
I know. Don't forget me, please.
So
yeah, that was how the Outlaws. And Chas Hodges of Chas and Dave, of course.
And was Chas with you when you started touring Holland and Belgium, for example? You had hits over in Holland, didn't you, in Belgium?
We had a guy with us then, because Chas was, I think he was still, he was with Heads, Hands and Feet then, with Albert Lee and those guys. and he was with Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers. So he's in great demand, Chaz. And I mean, if I could have had him in my band, I would have. But we had a great bass player called Kenny Longren and Kenny Leroy, he had a Canadian guy. And on keyboards, so it wasn't Chaz, it was a guy called Mel Simpson. And Bill Kye was on lead guitar again. Who else was there? Did I play guitar? I don't know. I may not have played guitar, but yeah, and Mel Jones on drums.
So you're still got the band. The band's touring. It's recording some music. They've got a few hits in Europe.
Yeah.
But the 70s also saw you, changing your focus a little bit from music to acting, and you started doing commercials on TV.
Well, that was because the singing had all sort of gone pear-shaped. Well, what happened was, once the groups came in, people like me, solo artists as I was, although I had my own group, I was still considered a solo singer. And we... Can you hear a squeaking? Anyway, so where was I? Yes, so the band thing, and by then I had my son. My son was born in 1970, and I was married, and I was involved in cars with a couple of friends. We started a business called Neptune Racing. We were building sort of racing cars, saloons, and stuff like that. And then one day, a friend of mine said an agency was starting up called JCJ, and they were looking for models and actors to join them. And so he said, well, you can go along, and I did, and they took me on. They didn't know who I was, much to my chagrin. They didn't know I was a singer or who. Well, I told them they didn't have a clue who Mike Berry was. So anyway, I started these commercials, and I was just doing sort of film extra work and background on commercials. And I gradually started to build up getting featured commercials. And it was through the commercials that I got into acting proper and doing television stuff. The first of which was Worzel Gummidge. Am I going too far?
No, Worzel Gummidge is great. I don't have any clips of Worzel Gummidge, but how long were you with that on Worzel Gummidge? Was it a series or?
I did all 4 series. I was the father of the 2 children, and the children being Jeremy Austin and oh Christ, Sue, John and Sue. Sue was, she died unfortunately, bless her. I can't think of her name. It happens when you're over 40. But anyway, I was the father of these 2 kids who befriended Worzel Gummidge. For the world viewers on this, Worzel Gummidge was a scarecrow. If you don't know what a scarecrow was, you better Google it and find out. I'll ask one of the other guests. Hello, from Southern Ontario. Sorry,
I'm not sure whether Worzel Gummidge reached out to Southern Ontario. But Worzel Gummidge was a good entry to television for you, other than the commercials, which were. And at what point were you headhunted for Mr. Spooner? Are you being served?
Well, when I was doing Worzel, I was working with John Pertwee. He was with his agent called Richard Stone. He was the biggest agent in London. He had Benny Hill and Frankie Howard and all these people. John Pertwee, who was Doctor Who. And I said to John one day, I said, my agent isn't paying me. He's holding back my money. He said, what? I said, yes, he's still got some financial problems and he can't pay me. He said, get rid of it. He said, write to Richard Stone. He said, I'll have a word with Richard. I said, you write to him, and I'm going to ask him if he'll take you on. You'll have to go and see him. And so we did all that, and he duly took me on, which I was very grateful to John for, because I didn't have an agent. I wasn't in the world of agents at all. So anyway, Richard took me on, And within about a month or so of being with Richard Stone, David Croft, who produced and co-wrote Are You Being Served, phoned Richard Stone, because he was with him as well. And he said, Richard, we can't, Trevor Bannister can't do Mr. Lucas in this next series, so we're going to replace him with another junior on John Inman's counter. He said, have you got anybody? And he said, I got just the man. And it was me. All I'd done was Worzel Gummidge, and I used to watch Are You Being Served religiously. I loved it. It was a great show. And so when I was told I was going to go and read for it, and to meet David Croft and Jeremy Lloyd, it was
Brilliant.
I was very worried. But anyway, I did went to see them, and they obviously they got me to read the script. They took me on. They created Mr. Spooner for Mike Berry, and so there I was.
Well, there's a little reminder here of a fantastic intro. I don't know who wrote the intro to it, but this is one of the most memorable show tunes as far as I'm concerned. Let's see if I can grab this up here.
It might have been Jim Parker, actually.
Let's have a look here.
Who's the whistler?
Ground floor perfumery, stationery and leather goods, wigs and tapestry, kitchen ware and food. First floor, telephones, gents, ready-made suits, shirts, socks, high hats, underwear and shoes going.
Yeah, those are the days.
It's just a fantastic tune, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
It just works, yeah, absolutely works. So sorry, I was going to say I know Jeremy Lloyd worked with Jim Parker, so it's probably Jim Parker trying to give credit to somebody, but I'm not sure.
We've got a few more messages coming in here. Let's pull them up. Teddy Clark, obviously over to you, Mike, to say hello to these people. Hi, Mike from Newry in Northern Ireland.
Hi, Teddy. Nice to hear from you. Are you well? So you got a picture of the Beatles there. Wonderful. My best favourite band of all time. Graham Baker. Hi from Rome.
Hello from Rome. We've got closer to home.
Oh, I see you. Inverness. I love it. I've toured a lot in Scotland, Carol.
Hello, Carol. We have Laura Leanne that's just said, she's missed out a no, I think. Do you know about the Buddy Holly Foundation that meets up annually in the West Country, Chris Difford Songwriting Retreat?
That's right. Yes, I did go there once. Your face looks familiar, Laura. I met you. I think I might have done. But yes, I did go on one of those. It was a sort of weekend thing. I didn't do a great deal, but it's a good thing. That whole Buddy Holly education project is very good, and especially keeping Buddy's name alive.
Oh God! I mean, I don't think the '60s music will never die. Bernie Aird, hello from Austria. I grew up in Bath in the '60s. Mike Berry, looking good after all this time. Now I remember him in Are You Being Served?
There you are. You see, Bernie.
Hey?
Yeah.
Hey,
what a Austria, anyway.
What a whatty. We got some more. Graham, Kathleen Dory Drummond. Hi. He's saying hi to somebody else that's coming down. Jean Grubb. Hello, Jean. Okay, so we carry on with the chronology of your fame, and I wouldn't necessarily say fame and fortune. I'm not sure whether the fortune came at the end of fame in your case.
A lot of times it got taken away. Well, I earned it. It never got delivered.
It is. There aren't many music legends that have actually transposed onto the screen as well with much success. There are quite a few, and you know, the Mick Jaggers, um, the Outlaw. Gosh, what's his name? David Bowie had a little play with the silver screen or the TV.
So did Marty Wilde, one of our older ones. He was in a film called The Hellions. Do you remember that? The Western.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell. Obviously, Elvis was one, but I think we're coming on to the 80s. So you're acting. What made you go back to music? Not that you ever left music, because you're still gigging, weren't you? You're still doing the Marty Wilde. In fact, you're still doing the Marty Wilde tours when they're on. When lockdown finishes, you'll be back on that bandwagon, won't you?
Hopefully so. Yeah. But I'll do my own gigs as well. I mean, I did one not long before. About just a few weeks ago, we did one we had booked in for a long time. And it was all very spaced out, and you know, all that social distancing and everything, and wearing masks. And couldn't dance, and you couldn't sing along.
It's not the same, is it? It's you know, that's one of the things we found with doing the tours. You know, it's great having the Route Master bus with up to 70 people in there all singing along. You get the top deck singing against the bottom deck. The live commentary, the music that we play on the bus, or you know. But
no, it's great.
It worked really well. However, you know, we're getting some great reports, as I say, with regard to the virtual tours, but we'll come on to that later. One of the biggest hits that I think, for me, one of the nicest songs that you've sung, and one of my favourites, was "Sunshine of Your Smile." What's the history behind that? How did you get that gig?
I've been recording with Chaz all these years, right all through the decades, except for that one break when I went to Europe and stuff, and Chaz was with Heads, Hands and Feet. And then, but we got back together in the studios with this guy producing us, and we went right through the 70s. Yeah, right through the 70s, recording from sort of early 70s and on. While I was doing all the commercials and all that stuff, I was back in the studio at Polydor recording. And Chaz was in on all the recordings and only playing piano. He would play guitar and bass if required, but it was mostly piano. And the musical influence for me was always Chaz. And if ever I had a musical issue, I would always talk to Chaz about it. We always had the right answer. The man was wonderful. But we did gather around some wonderful musicians in Jeff White on guitar and a guy called Adrian Shepherd on drums. And these guys were absolute top guitar. And with Chaz, they all still referred to Chaz as the musical genius. I remember calling Chaz a genius when we were only 17 and 18. I was a year older than Chaz, but he was involved in all that stuff. And one day, I was told by Polydor, we're not getting any hits with your producer, Mickey. And I said, yeah, I know. We've had a couple of them, but nothing that would make them some decent money over here because it's expensive. And so I said, look, we'll give you 4 more tracks, and then I'm afraid we're going to have to let you go. And so I had a sudden inspiration. I rang Chaz, and I rang Chaz, and I said, Chaz, look at this situation. I said, you fancy producing? Because Chaz was always there anyway, and more or less producing the songs anyway. So, along with the studio engineer. And so he said, yeah, great, yeah. He said, you should send us some of your tunes, and he said, we'll have a go. Anyway, I sent it to some of my songs, and he picked 3, and he picked Sunshine of Your Smile. It was his idea. The song his mum used to do in the pubs, Daisy. She was lovely. She was a good musician. And she used to play all these old Edwardian songs in the pub.
Because it's a very old song, isn't it? I mean, it goes back
1913.
Yeah.
But it was a huge hit in its day. They never really could follow it up. It was one of those songs that had something really special about it. And when it came out in 1980, and again it was a hit, but it took a long while to take off. If we'd have had the sales that we eventually got in the normal space of a record sale, it would have been number one for weeks.
I think, you know, you do it so much justice. So I'm going to play it now. I'm just looking at Catherine Hopper. Hello, Mike from Southend in Essex. Seen you at the Cliffs Pavilion. Great show. You were awesome.
Hi, Catherine. Lovely to hear from you, darling. See you again down there, no doubt. Come and say hello.
So for those that haven't heard it, and as a reminisce for the ones that remember it, I'm going to play a little version. This is a live version again to get over the Facebook prerequisites and legalities. So here is a rendition.
Can I make a suggestion? When you play it, I don't know if you've got your mic turned off. Turn your mic off. It might be feeding back. You know, it sounds very thin.
No, it's going straight in from the audio mic. So here we go. Mike Berry, Sunshine of Your Smile.
Woohoo!
Your smile. In a face that holds so sweet a smile for me, were you not mine, how dark this world would be. I know no light above that could replace love's radiant sunshine in your lovely face. Give me a smile, love light in your eyes. Life could not hold a sweeter paradise. Give me the right to love you all the while. I will forever the sunshine of your smile. Shadows may fall across the land and sea, sunshine from all the world may it be, but I shall see no clouds across the sun. Your smile will light my life till life is done. Let's hear you sing. Come on, give me a smile, a love light in your eyes, love light in your eyes. Life could not hold a sweeter paradise. Give me the right to love you all the while. I will forever sunshine your smile. I will forever sunshine of your smile. Thank you. You did nothing at all.
There we go.
Bloody sound is terrible.
Oh, the thing is, this you're a consummate professional, aren't you? You're looking at the. This is not the BBC home
Well, I know
service.
that.
So I know the sound is never. I remember when we were having a quick run through the other day, and you were very conscious about the sound. That I'm sure that everyone understands that. Hi from Germany, Marcel. Hey from Germany, Marcel Lenz. Yeah, brilliant song. Absolute, not just the song, but the what Chaz Hodges did to the production of it. I think was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let me come off that. Let me make you bigger because you're the main man, Mike. So what's happening now? I mean, obviously you're in lockdown. Are you writing new stuff? Are you creating?
I'm writing, and I'm actually going to get on another setup like this, and I'm with a little band called Rockspit, ROX a bit, as we do, and it's a bunch of musicians. And my drummer, I've been with 30 years, and a guy called Andy Roberts on guitar. And Jerry, I always forget his surname, Jerry, oh God, on double bass. It'll come to me. Anyway, Jerry's on bass. And we're just going to rehearse together and play together and try and do some videos we could put online. But we were just starting up when COVID hit. We did 2 gigs and we had to stop. It was not very nice.
No. I mean, I speak to a lot of people, and obviously I'm phoning a lot of the '60s legends, musicians, celebrities up, and they're all in the same boat, champing at the bit to get out there, which is great, you know. And I'm going to leak out the guest next week is Clem Catini. Clem Catini is now 83 years old, and I spoke to him a couple of days ago. And he was like a bright spark, and he's just champing at the bit. He doesn't play so much anymore, but he does go out to social events, etc. And you know, once a musician, always a musician. Philip Gummidge, I've seen you at Northampton in the Royal and Derngate, a few years ago. If I remember correctly, it was a '60s show. I've got that on a 45. Thanks, Mike. I am in Wolverton, Milton Keynes.
Good for you. I think I've got. My father lived in Milton Keynes till he died, and I got 2 half brothers. I think we're up that way, but yeah. Well, there you go. Fantastic stuff. Lovely to see you all phoning in, or at least typing in.
You're the best, Mike. Alfred. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure you'd say that if you met him. No, he's a lovely chap.
Oh,
everyone likes. Oh, yes, he is.
Arkansas, look at this. Hey, Peggy Ann Foster.
Hello, Peggy. Hello, Peggy, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet? There's another question here. Did you ever meet up with Raymond Froggatt, Mike?
No, you know, I think I did a gig or 2 with Raymond Froggatt. I was a big fan of his. I loved his stuff. And he was very unusual guy. What was that big hit he had? Tell me, I can't remember. It's the one he's known for mainly.
Grant, if you type in an answer, I'll put it back on the screen if you can hear us. So hopefully Grant will remember that big hit.
Oh yeah, he was great. I loved Raymond Froggatt. So he didn't get nearly enough recognition, I don't think. And he didn't have the hits he should have had. There you go. It's often like that, you know.
So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get out on the golf course again, Mike.
Not really. We can know from the second we can go.
Of course we can. Well, we can go down the driving range anyway. I've got to check to see whether the golf clubs are open still, but. Pamela Flower, before you went into singing, do I remember you being the father of the children on Worzel Gummidge? Well,
yeah,
if
not been paying attention, young Pamela.
Well, she's
in the naughty corner, not paying attention. We spoke in length about Worzel Gummidge.
No, she's obviously just joined. You were a late starter.
I know.
So Pamela, yeah, we did cover Worzel Gummidge and Are You Being Served, etc.
There's a nice little tribute on YouTube that we did only about a year or so ago. It's sort of an ending to Worzel, and Jeremy Austin was on it along with me, and they went back to Scatterbrook Farm where Worzel used to live.
I've seen that. It's a great program.
Yeah.
Joe BCFC Burnett. First record I ever bought was "Don't You Think It's Time," 1962. I was 8.
You're a man of taste, young Joe. What's the BCFC stand for? Is that rude?
I'm not sure. I think we get off that one quickly. But thanks for calling in. Thanks for typing in there, Joe. Teddy Clark. I love Mike's version of the anniversary song.
Oh yes, that's right. I remember doing that with Benny Green. There was a great jazz guy in England, and he couldn't believe I'd changed the feel of it because it was a waltz, the anniversary waltz, and we recorded it with Chaz producing, and we did it in what they call 4/4 time, which is just straight time. But it's a lovely song, and it's Irving Berlin, isn't it? I think the anniversary song.
Grant is saying it was Dave Clark that recorded it.
Did he? Wow, did he really? The anniversary song? Well, that's unusual.
No. Oh no, hang on a minute. Red
Balloon, in and out of the red balloon. That was it.
That's it.
That's right, Raymond Frogger. Yeah, no, Dave Clark did it as well. Yeah, but it's Raymond Frogger. Yeah.
My old mate Hash Shah is saying, "Hi Mike, are you any good at golf?" Well, you played with us. You should know.
No, I swear a lot, but that's because I'm rubbish, and I get very frustrated. I've got more right-angled clubs in my bag than most people. Yeah, no, I like the game, but I'm really not very good at it. I haven't got great hand-eye coordination. I suppose I got too smug about being able to sing a bit, so I didn't bother with that. But no, it's something you're born with, really.
Well, listen, Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure. The hour has gone by so damn quickly. We've done an hour already. Can I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for joining us. I look forward to having another. We'll go down the driving range soon. But thanks a lot. It's gone through really quickly. We've had some great traction from people all around the world. And this is going to be going on to our YouTube channel so people can listen to it. Obviously, later on, they won't be able to make any comments, obviously. Only those coming on the live one. And just to ask you, would you come on one of our tours this weekend? Live tours. You can join us at the end of the tour if you're free the Saturday or Sunday in the afternoon.
I really will have to check my diary because I believe I'm going to my daughter's not go. I don't get many opportunities. But yes, by all means, if I can get away and get to even the end of the tour.
Excellent. So anyone booking a tour, maybe sitting beside you on the Zoom meeting, on the Zoom tour.
That'll teach you.
That'll teach you, and then you can talk face to face then without having to type in. Mike, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'll catch up with you very shortly. I'm going to put you back in the green room.
Thank you for phoning in from me.
Take care, mate.
Okay. See you again. Tatty bye.
There we go. Mike Berry, the legend Mike Berry. I love talking to the guy. He's become a great friend of mine, and we do have a chat. We go and have a beer occasionally. One of the nicest guys in the music business. He's been 60 years in the music business, and it's not just me saying that. Anyone I talk to about Mike Berry says, what a lovely guy. People that have been to his concerts, that he spent the time to have photographs taken, etc. What a lovely chap. I'm just going to show you a couple of banners here. Next week, we have the legend that is Clem Catini. Clem Catini has drummed on 42 #1 hits in the UK. So boy, is he going to have stories to tell. So hopefully you can join us next Thursday on the Celebrity Spotlight, next Thursday at 7 o'clock. And hopefully see some of you on the tours on this this Saturday and Sunday. There's the logo, the website down the bottom, if you want to take a note of that. Look forward to seeing you at the weekend or next Thursday with Clem Catini. My name is Paul Endicott from Music Heritage London, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. The outro, I'm going to bring Mike into Singing from Home. We didn't actually he had a guitar at home. We didn't even get him picking it up. So this is an outro from Mike. God bless you. Take care of yourself and see you next week.
You left jewels on my window. I was dreaming half asleep. I was thinking about your smiling face and the company that you keep. I watched you cross the tables in the cafe down the street. I tried so hard to get to you on a chance that we might meet. Oh, I know you're only a low country woman and you think you got no style. City girls are just painted on, never